What's up, guys, and welcome to another Hungover Podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Julien, and today, Yvonne is not one of our hosts. This is the first time we've ever had a special guest, and it's because Yvonne is unfortunately away. So I decided to bring in my lovely girlfriend.
I'm Nikki.
Fantastic. That is your name. You decided to agree to join me in the podcast today in our apartment.
Enjoy that view.
So if you're missing out because you're just listening to this podcast, which you can on iTunes and SoundCloud, you can also check us out on YouTube. We have a whole YouTube channel called Hungover Gaming. Check us out there, and you'll see this sweet video. You'll see what Nikki looks like. You'll see what I look like if you don't even know that. But by now, we're 27, 28 episodes in. Of course, we're recording these all out of order. The reason why I even had to bring Nikki on the podcast is because Yvonne and I were way too lazy and couldn't bank enough podcasts and Let's Plays and all those things before he left.
Oh, yeah.
So we've sort of run out of our reserve. So now we're scrambling to get a podcast recorded. But today, I have my lovely girlfriend here. Now, Nikki, we start our podcast out every single week, all right? Asking what media have you been consuming lately, because, I mean, you've never been on this podcast, so tell us what you like to consume in terms of media, whether it be books, music, TV shows, YouTube videos, like this one, and then also what did you drink last night or recently?
So media-wise, I'm a huge YouTube watcher. I watch all sorts of different channels, from people doing DIY to makeup tutorials to daily vlogs. Big fan of really boring, mundane daily vlogs.
That's what YouTube has become, right? Just games, daily vlogs, and makeup tutorials.
And I do watch a lot of people's playthroughs, but I don't play a lot of games. I just enjoy watching people play video games.
Yeah.
So
like who have you been watching recently on YouTube? Not that anyone's gonna judge you.
I was gonna say, I recently just found out that Dan and Phil exist, so I've been watching
that's a surprise because they're very popular. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very charming. So I've just been watching a lot of Dan and Phil, and Jenna Marbles, her boyfriend Julien Solomita, does a great daily vlog. He's a fantastic cinematographer, and I like to watch their relationship chemistry and their weird dogs. Big fan of weird dogs.
Yeah, you're into animals. You're into that sort of stuff, right?
This afternoon I was actually just binge watching a lot of Animal Planet, My Cat from Hell afters. So after that guy comes in and makes your cat not hellish.
Yeah,
and
I saw that on your computer.
Really emotional. I've just been watching a lot of
My
cat
cat
videos.
from... Oh, you don't like that? He's English, right?
No. I like that guy just fine. I don't like watching the cats have problems. It makes me feel really sad.
Yeah.
I feel awful for those owners who just don't know how to take care of their pets. And then when he comes in and turns the cat into what I have, which is a loving cat, it makes me feel better.
Loving cat.
She's pretty damn loving.
Your cat's a mess.
Are you kidding me?
All right. Well, have you been drinking anything lately? This is Hungover Gaming after all.
Currently drinking a pretty accurate Moscow Mule. We make our own ginger syrup because we're like that.
Yeah, you can make your own ginger syrup by chopping up a bunch of ginger, perhaps putting it in a food processor. And if you want to make it a spicy ginger syrup, go ahead and add some peppercorns in there. Not in the food processor. Yeah, you want to get whole peppercorns. You want to lightly toast them on the saucepan you're going to do this in. Mm-hmm. Then you want to do like half a cup or so of chopped ginger, and then a cup of water.
Some agave.
And then you can either use honey, agave, or sugar, whatever you want. Just dissolve as sweet as you want. We usually use around half a cup of honey or something like that. And then you sort of want to bring that to a boil and let it sit for 30 minutes and then pour it into a container. Yep. Strain everything out, of course.
Strain it and then pour it into whatever drink you want. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. We just happen to like vodka in this household, so that's what we're doing.
It would be really good to, if you're not into alcoholic drinks, I don't know why you're watching this, but it would be really good to put in some tea or something as a sweetener.
Oh, yeah.
It would,
or even just like spike your seltzer with it, just
give
it
seltzer
extra flavor.
With this stuff. This is really crisp stuff, and if you make enough of it, it'll last you a pretty long time. Yeah. So, Nikki, what have I been consuming, though?
Yeah, what are you consuming? What do you do in that cave of yours?
I have a cave, which is where I record and fart and do all these sorts of things.
Oh, God, I went away for a week, and it smelled so bad in there. So bad in there.
It's not my fault.
It was so gross.
I'm not a stinky gamer, I swear. So anyways, I've been playing Splatoon 2 since, of course, the 2 podcasts that came out before this, actually the 4 podcasts that came out before this we pre-recorded. So I haven't been able to talk about Splatoon 2 on the podcast or any games I've been playing recently, come to think of it. Splatoon 2 is Nintendo's basically shooter. They ported Splatoon from the Wii U onto the Nintendo Switch, and they basically called it Splatoon 2, and they added a couple things. And I didn't get it the first time around because I don't know, I was too lazy, and I didn't.
Kind of childish.
Yeah.
Just like
well, no, that's not why. It's just I didn't really like the Nintendo Wii U as a console. It's just not a very useful console in my opinion. But it does have really great games. Of course, I have it. I love Nintendo. I have to support them in any way I can. It has really great games on it, including Splatoon. So Splatoon 2. You're a squid kid, that's what they call you, and basically the whole premise of it is it's a multiplayer shooter. It has a single player mode that's pretty cool, but it's a multiplayer shooter where you shoot ink with a whole bunch of different guns, and you're basically trying to cover the map as opposed to killing people, but you can kill people with ink. Pretty cool. Check it out if you have the Nintendo Switch. I highly suggest it. The single player is all right. It's sort of like Mario. There's different platforming levels, and you have to do different things with the different guns. And there are actually quite a few guns in the game to unlock, which is really, really cool. I didn't think it would be so robust in the variety of guns that they offer you. You can have dual pistols. You can have a sniper rifle. You can have sort of like a shotgun of ink. There's the funniest one to me is just a bucket. You get a bucket full of ink, and you just splash them and you can press the shoot button really fast, and you can destroy people up close with a whole. It just makes me think of MS Paint, though. When you just bucket the whole spoiler alert: MS Paint is going away.
I thought I read that. So I saw it on Twitter one day saying "Say goodbye to MS Paint," and I felt a pang in my heart because I grew up with almost no internet access. That first part of the internet, And MS Paint was my clutch thing to do.
MS Paint is an amazing program. And also, it's a very simplistic version of Photoshop. It's really cool.
Because Photoshop is hard.
And it's free.
Yes. But I saw the next day, don't worry, guys, MS Paint's not going anywhere. So I think Microsoft heard everyone loud and
they got
clear.
The good for you, Microsoft.
So
I don't,
but I have a Mac, so I actually haven't had Paint. I use it at work a lot for weird things. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, my laptop is a Mac as well.
Yeah, so I built
my own PC. Let's be serious here.
Congrats.
It
has LEDs.
It has LEDs on it, and maybe we'll do a sweet walkthrough. If you guys want to see one of those in my sweet setup, go ahead and tell us in the comment section below. So Nikki, I've been doing that. I watched The Matrix Reloaded last night.
I know you did.
It is actually,
because I was like, what are you doing? And then you got snippy and you're like, I'm watching The Matrix Reloaded.
Just get out of here. I want to watch this movie, all right? I freaking love it because they put Matrix 1, 2, and I assume 3 on Netflix now. Not that I don't own it on Blu-ray or anything. But it's not like I can't just, but it was there and I wanted to watch something and whatever. And I didn't want to watch anything else on Netflix. And of course, I love The Matrix. All right. If anyone has been listening to this podcast, Yvonne and I love The Matrix. The Matrix is one of the best movies of all time. We all know this.
It's a great movie.
Now, Nikki, did you know when I was in 6th grade?
Okay.
I would go to school, do the whole school thing, the
mandatory requirements by the government.
The tween thing, hormones. I'm wearing sweatpants. I don't know. Yeah, so whatever. You do that when you're 12 or however old you are, 11. 12.
So I'd say 11 to probably 15, right. Unfortunately. It's
now,
just really tragic.
Unlike other kids, I would run home. And my mom and dad wouldn't be home because it's 3 or it's 3:30 or so,
kid
right?
Over here.
I'd run home, and what would I do? I'd go to the TV and I'd throw in The Matrix. The Matrix. I had all 3 Matrixes by that point. I assume that's when they came out. I remember doing this in middle school. Maybe it was also in high school. I think it might have been ninth grade then. Because, well, I'm 26 now. Whatever. You guys do the math. So this would be around the time when all 3 Matrixes are on DVD. Now, so I would throw it in there, and I've of course already seen the movie 5 times or so. And what I would do almost every day after school was watch my favorite fight scenes from those movies. So yeah, I would skip through that weird sex scene that they have in the cave.
It's not a good sex scene.
It's not. I did like all the... So, little side note, I know a lot about The Matrix. Little side note, especially Reloaded, they spent a lot of money on that movie. That scene had... Those were all extras, and I think they must have paid them all. They had about 300 people in that scene. Watching. Watching Morpheus give that. And they had them there almost all day. And it was kind of crazy. But apparently the extras were really into the shoot, and they had a great time. Maybe that's just how the commentary tells you it. But also, what they did was for the highway scene. You remember the highway scene in The Matrix Reloaded? They built 2 or 3 miles of highway.
Oh yeah.
They built that highway for that scene, and they wrecked so many cars on it. It was great. And anyways, my point is, The Matrix Reloaded is, I think, a fairly underrated movie. I think that movie's got, it's kind of long, but it's got really awesome fight scenes in it. And the CG, I think, holds up. It doesn't look that bad, because a lot of the shots were practical in the fight scenes. And I think they did a really good job with that movie. Matrix Revolutions, I think is the third one. I can't comment on because I haven't seen it in a long time, but I would also watch my favorite fight scenes from that movie, and then I would also throw in the mix the first Matrix, which is, of course, the best one. Okay. And, of course, Nikki, following that, I've been playing a lot of Tekken 7, getting better as martial law, and I'm 2 trophies away from the Platinum Trophy. Not to mention, 2 nights ago, I went to a Melee tournament at my friend Freddie's house, aka Nick's house. The tournament was called Freddie's House too, but we had it at Nick's house. Anyways, the point is, we streamed it, but it was on his channel, so you can go check out the VOD if you want to, twitch.tv/FredBrobro, so BROBRO. But I have a lot of fun with Melee, so really great game. And that's about it. And then I've been drinking a lot, but we don't need to get into that. No. We're having a Moscow Mule.
Yeah, we're having
now, Nikki. Yep. I think that was a pretty comedic segment, if I do say so myself.
Oh, the king of the segue over here.
I think that was a funny sort of way to start off a podcast. Yeah. Which is the topic of the show, comedy. Comedy, because you are, some would say, a real comedian over here.
At one point in time, I would self-identify as a comedian for sure.
Well, tell the audience your experience with comedy and what it is that you studied for a long time.
Yeah, so I did a lot of improv, like an
can you explain
unnecessary
improv,
amount
just in
of
case?
improv.
Because I know everyone knows what a stand-up comic is, but not necessarily what improv comic is. So
improvisation, or impro if you're in England, but oh god.
Impro?
Yeah, they're the worst. So improv.
But they're the best at acting, aren't they? Well, they started acting.
Yeah, sure.
They started modern show.
So what got me into improv in college was I did theater in high school. So I was always interested in performing, and just pretend and being something else all the time was super appealing to me. And I ran into one of my old high school friends who was also in theater, and he was like, come to this thing with me. And I was like, all right, cool. So I show up and I learn that improv, which I think my first introduction was like, whose line is it anyway? Yeah. Which is a short form thing. You basically just play a bunch of games based off of 1 word or 2 word, very short suggestions, and you make up as you go along. So if there's a game like Schwarzenegger Die is a really fun game that we used to play in college, where you get an object, give me an object.
Pineapple.
You dick. And what you do is you do like an Arnold Schwarzenegger style finishing line with that item. But I think I can.
Can you give us one right now? You're an improv artist.
So you come in and
This
you
is
just go,
it's like asking a comedian to say, "Tell me a joke."
this is exactly what happens and why I don't tell people I did comedy for like 10 years. You basically just go, boom! Now your pines are appled, or something really stupid like that, right? But pineapple is literally the improviser's worst suggestion, and we got it so often. Every show, some dickwad would think they're the funniest
Really? They would
fucking
say
person
pineapple?
and would say pineapple. And
That was a joke
yeah,
because of
no,
the pineapple here.
yeah, but that was
I didn't
pretty
know
much what
that.
happened.
My
But yeah,
bad.
so it's all right. So short form is that where you have a game, there's a very clear path that you take across the game, but you know what happens along the way is a little different. But there's rules to it, very stringent rules, and it usually lasts for like 2 minutes, and you move on. Long form improv is what I really enjoy doing, and you essentially end up with a play, fully improvised comedic scenes, which vary. There's a lot of rules and structure you can apply to it, but the baseline is you get a one-word suggestion. You have a team of 2 to probably 8, I would say, is the most I'd really want to have on stage, and you just perform and you do what you can, and scenes have different sets to them, so you'll have a first beat of a scene, and it's the first time you come out, you see a world, you whatever, and then, you know, we'll describe a herald, which is the most standard. UCB does a lot of heralds. So you come out, you do a scene, right?
And UCB is the Upright Citizens Brigade, which is the most prestigious.
One of.
Probably,
I would not count out IO Improv Olympics or the Second City or the Groundlings or the Annoyance Theater or the Pit or the Magnet or any of the other copious theaters that will teach fine performers.
Yeah,
these
these are basically theaters or organizations that teach you the ropes when it comes to improv. And UCB, a lot of famous people. Can you name any of them?
So UCB was started by Amy Poehler, Matt Besser, Matt Walsh, and someone else who I always forget because he doesn't do as much as the rest. And Amy Poehler, obviously, is Amy Poehler. And then recent UCB grads actually include Kate McKinnon from SNL. She's fantastic.
Yeah, a lot of the SNL cast has done something at UCB.
Yeah, the lovely UCB. Ladies from Broad City are UCB
absolutely,
alum.
Yeah.
Their show is filled with UCB alum. Chris Gethard, who is fantastic and does a lot of really cool podcasts and comedy shows, is a UCB alum. A couple of my teachers are actually constantly in bit parts all over TV, which is really cool. A lot of the stuff you see on Facebook Live or MTV Live or whatever, any of those bullshits, all of those people are usually improvisers because we work cheap. Because you don't get paid to do comedy.
No, well, you do once you make it.
But let me describe the Herald really quick.
Okay, yeah.
And then, so you get it in, you get a suggestion, you might do some sort of warm up so that everybody gets on the same page. You do a scene, and then 2 more people do another scene, 2 more people do another scene, you do another group game, and that first 2 people come out and do a second beat of that first scene, it becomes whatever, and then so on and so forth. You do 1 more group game, and then it's third beats, which are supposed to be just rapid fire connections for whatever you can get out. If you haven't seen someone do improv, I highly recommend just bopping around online. You'll be able to find old shows from ASCAT 3000. That's the All-Stars at UCB. It's really fun to watch. If you get the opportunity to go, if you're ever in New York, hit up any of the theaters. It's usually $10 to see a show. Beer's real cheap, and it's a really good time.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting and fun type of show that you you made me go. And no, of course they were a lot of fun. The audience gets really riled up, and it's a lot of fun. It's very, very, very different from going to, say, the Comedy Cellar or a place like that that does a stand-up open mic night or just has a comedian special, stand-up comic special. It's a very different thing because you end up getting usually a bunch of teams together because they have their show and everyone signed up to do it. So you have a bunch of teams and they'll all compete, which is actually pretty cool. I thought that was maybe the funnest part, as opposed to a stand-up comics.
I took you to
a competition.
Yeah. Was it the one where they do the shitty fake wrestling in between?
Maybe.
Because that's a good show.
I didn't see that. Anyways,
no, okay, but that's a good time.
All right. I always thought it was usually a competition. It's not.
Sometimes, not every time.
Okay.
But you will usually see 3 or so teams at one night.
Yeah.
And that makes for a really cool time, especially if you study comedy, just to watch the different approach that each team will take with a very similar form. I used to, they make you go see shows, obviously. When you're studying something, you should observe something as well. And I really enjoy watching improv, and I kind of pick it apart in a way that people who like sports or video games will dissect it. You start to say, well, why was that funny, or why wasn't that funny? And you get really in your head about whether or not you're being funny. So don't put me on the spot for jokes.
No, I would never. I understand that that's not a thing you should do. It's like asking me to recite the periodic table or something. But which I can do sort of. But don't ask me to do that. No,
I wasn't gonna.
Now, what I was gonna say, it's really cool. The coolest thing is that it is all improvised and none of it is.
Show again.
Yeah, you'll never see the same show, as opposed to if you see a stand-up comic, if you see their routine once and they haven't changed it, then you're seeing a similar show. It's not the same show, obviously, but it is a similar show. Obviously, stand-up comics, sometimes they hit a joke, sometimes they don't, right?
Right, it's workshopping.
And
workshopping is
the
a
same
big
goes
part
for
of
you
comedy.
guys.
Yeah.
The same goes
and when you do really like a character or world that you build, this is where you hopefully also like to write. And you and a bunch of your bros get together and you turn that into a sketch. And then boom, you don't have to give up that character, right? That's why you see so many reoccurring characters on SNLs, because it probably came up when they were just kind of like improvising off of, a couple line ideas just to see if they could flesh out the world, flesh out the character. And, from that, you can really make a lot of different things happen.
Is SNL is like 50-50 in terms of improv and...
So they do not improvise. They do not improvise during the show.
Oh, not at all.
There are very few times where they will improvise. If you see someone breaking, which is when you start laughing and you break character, it's because they changed one of the lines on the cue card. Right. And that's what they would do to Hader when he was doing Stefan. And that's why he just would break all the time, is because they would change the adjectives for the club. And it would be even more ridiculous than what they would practice doing. So that was kind of part of the character. But they don't typically improvise. To get to the characters in the sketches, they do the improvising. Okay. So, when you're writing a show in a week, which is what they do, which is absolutely insane, and most places don't put that kind of pressure on themselves, you kind of have to bang it out, so you do a lot of, improvising to write out the characters, banging out sketches, a lot of stuff's going to get cut, changed, switched, and, within a week's time, you have to do everything. It helps when you have a NBC budget, but, yeah, for the most part, they're not, when you see that final show, it is pretty much what was written down. There might be a few changes here and there, but no.
I also don't watch it that often.
I mean, it's really hit or miss, and I can't watch it all the time either, just because.
I like Keenan.
Yeah, I like Keenan too, but I think Keenan's going back to kid shows. I saw that he was going to be doing a kid sketch show, and I was like, yes, that's great. What I grew up watching you do. So please go back to doing that.
Well, so that's your experience. That's your experience with the comedy world thus far, of course.
Well, yeah. I mean, right?
You spent how many years doing this?
So I did
since college.
In college, I did it for 4 years. 4 years, and then when I got out of college, I think it was another 3.5 on top of that, but then I went back to grad school, and it's expensive.
Right, no, it's an expensive thing, and it's a hobby at this point.
It was a hobby because New York is a fantastic...
Is the comedy center of the world.
It's a fantastic... Chicago's actually really up there. Yeah, it's a fantastic hub for talented, beautiful, creative people, and... when you're sort of talented and sort of creative.
You gotta be all three of those things.
Right. When you're not, I'm not a self-promoter. I'm very, very bad at being excessively gung-ho about mild ideas that I have. And I just didn't like how competitive it had become. I just like making people laugh. So for me, doing improv was a little bit of a cathartic, therapeutic release where I would go on stage, make my teammates laugh, make the audience laugh, feel a little bit better, have a good time, just it was a social experience. I just like to perform
It's a hobby.
and pretend. Exactly. I would have loved for it to turn into a career, but after a few years and a few $1,000s, maybe like $5,000 or $6,000, you start to realize,
gotta cut your losses.
yeah, and I was working full time, and I was living really, really deep in Brooklyn, and I was having shows way too often.
Not that we don't do that now.
Yeah, way too often, and I was having rehearsals way too often, and like you have to pay for space and coach and class, and I wasn't, I'd gone through UCB's like school system, and I graduated through their advanced study program, and I was getting into advanced study Herald classes, which was great, but you only could take 2 in a year. And I wasn't getting into advanced study performance, which is like the coveted Tuesday at 11 show, right? And first of all, fuck that. I don't want to be I don't want to like go and perform at UCB at 11 o'clock, not get home probably until like 1:30 because I'm going to have to be social. And then even later than that, if I like do anything or the train does what the train does in the city. So it just became like, do I even want to be in that class? Do I even want to be doing this? And I kind of just stopped. I cut back on everything. I stopped really seeing a lot of comedy and going to, and I mean, it sucks because I miss doing it. It's a fun thing to do, but if you're not on a team with people who want to do it for fun, and you're on a team with people who are like gung-ho about becoming an it person in comedy, then it becomes draining, because I don't have a marketable Twitter account. I'm not blowing up on Tumblr. I'm not writing a book, and
career.
Yeah, and UCB really wants people who already have a name to them or a following to them.
Really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Who, like, some way, shape, or form are already, like, kind of part of the scene. So, like, they have, like, a verified Twitter account, or they're working on some sort of, like, book, or they have a sketch show that's, like, on YouTube already. UCB wants people who are like that, who comedy is just all they eat, sleep, and breathe, and, like, they're working 6 jobs just to, like, get to where they're going. I like to have a consistent salary.
Right.
I am a big fan of shopping and buying unnecessary things like hair dye. So for me, I need to have a job. I can't be waiting tables. I have shitty wrists, and this city is just kill or be killed when it comes to creative stuff.
Well, that's pretty consistent across the board in all artistic ventures when it comes to acting or being a painter or a sculptor or anything like that. So I definitely agree with you. But I brought you on the show. Thank you for coming. And you're the resident expert when it comes to comedy here, all right? So how let's see.
So how would someone go about it if they wanted to?
Well, I guess you could say that. Maybe we can talk about that as well.
Okay.
How would someone go about if they're really interested into improv or stand-up or something like that, trying to get into the comedy world? What do you suggest that they do first?
Absorb it. Just go and watch as many shows and as many open nights as you possibly can.
For your first move should be
just
to move to New York or Chicago or LA.
But actually, you don't even have to do that because YouTube exists now, so you can watch people's sets.
But they don't have. Necessarily, let's say, Joe Schmo in Kentucky. College. Well, maybe not Kentucky, but Joe Schmo in Missouri is probably not going to have that much, maybe not even Missouri.
All right.
I feel like.
I got an answer, though, so.
Right, okay.
Just be by a big school.
Illinois.
Be by a big school. I was in Florida.
Wisconsin.
Shh. I was in Florida.
Vermont.
I was in Florida
okay.
when I first started doing improv, and that's because I went to a big-ass university. I went to the University of Florida, and it's huge. There's about 50,000 students there at any given time, so any activity you want to do, they have it. Be by a big college. So if you're on your way to university or, like, not really doing that scene, go to where a big school is, get your menial job there, usurp their college comedy scene.
It's a good word, usurp.
Thank you. And go from there. I have a lot of friends who were in school, stopped going to school, just kind of were in the area, and they did all of their comedy through Theater Strike Force, which is UF's premier improv and sketch comedy troupe. So really, it just matters on...
So go to UF.
Go to UF or, USF or any of the schools that are decent sized are probably going to have a comedy scene that you can partake in. Other than that, if you don't live by a big school and you do live in New York or Chicago or LA, you're not going to have a hard time finding a place to do comedy. Yeah. It's going to be super simple, and you can absorb as much as you want and partake as often as you want to.
Do you suggest taking classes, or do you think you can do it on your own?
I would say it doesn't hurt to take classes. So they give you a foundation, right? And if you want to be good at anything, you're going to need feedback. You're going to need someone to feed off of. You're going to need other people to gauge your skill against. Comedy sucks in that it's subjective, and it's really hard to put where you think you are versus, where other people are, and your ego gets kind of bruised pretty heavily.
Yeah, I can imagine.
If you're like, I thought I was a fucking hilarious person, and then I got to these places and I was not funny. I was not doing the good things. I wasn't getting the big laughs. I wasn't the person like shutting the show down. Like that was, you have to start to adjust to where you fit in with the team, which is why these things are really good.
Yeah.
And for stand-up, I would go to workshops. I would listen to other people's jokes, see what works, see what doesn't. Try not to steal material, because sometimes you'll hear a joke and it sounds like something else, and you like kind of switch it and like turn it in. Don't do that. It's a really dick move in the comedy world. But just absorb. Watch comedy. Be a part of it. Work up the nerve to do it. Decide if you're going to throw up or, if you can keep doing it, because that is a nerve-wracking experience, going out on stage and having no script versus going out on stage and having a script. It's all pretty fucking scary.
Well, I reckon, it takes time, right? Like mastering anything takes time no matter what you're doing. So I think it's akin to maybe my venture to be good at fighting games. Right? That's what I want to be pretty competent when it comes to playing Tekken 7 or Super Smash Bros. Melee. Those are my two favorite games right now. So I think it's going to... if you're trying to be a stand-up comedian, I don't know exactly the improv world.
You just have to practice.
Yeah, no, you have to practice. And the way you practice being a stand-up comedian is you go to open mic nights, right? No matter where, no matter when you can, or try to go every single time you can. Just keep trying. And you're going to fail. It's literally, you are going to fail 90% of your comedy career until you make it, right? So and the thing is exactly the same when it comes to going to being good at fighting games. You're gonna lose 90% of your matches until you get good. Let's go. I know, but until you start thinking about what you did wrong. And then you start learning. Right. So the learning process is getting that sort of negative feedback and seeing what you did wrong and trying to take at least one thing each time that you screw up or each time that you did something wrong, right? And then fixing it the next time, making sure you go to the tournament or to the stand-up mic and you make sure you land that joke, right? You make sure you land that one joke. It doesn't matter about the rest of your jokes. As long as you landed that one joke, then you can work on the next one and the next one and the next one, right? So that's my approach to it. I'm obviously not a comedian or anything.
I don't have experience doing stand-up.
Right.
But I know a lot of stand-ups. And as far as that goes,
or people that do this for a career?
Yeah. So a lot of my friends who do improv, write sketch, perform stand-up, you're like, that's the comedy triple threat. Not everyone who does one can do the other.
It's a difficult thing.
A lot of stand-ups think that improv is like this, like, walk in a park. I had to write 5 minutes the other night. It's like, no, dude, like, improv can be really challenging if the audience is just not working with you. Like, it's hard to know where to take a scene.
I feel like a lot of improv comedians would be really good at fighting games. Because you gotta think on your feet. I love fighting games, all right? You gotta think on your feet, all right?
Okay, so 100%. The name of this episode is The Art of Comedy / Fighting Games.
All right, I was trying to make my way into the comedy world. I'm sorry.
Right.
I'm telling jokes.
Right.
No, the point is, what do you think about stand-up comedy versus improv? Where do you fall?
I have a lot of salt
you love
toward the
improv. You're
community.
standing on that, but why?
So improvisers don't get paid to do performances at clubs because the argument is, I don't know if the show's going to be good or not. And with the stand-up...
Right, because it is literally different every time.
Right, and with the stand-up, it's the same show every time. So even like UCB...
Or they know that person's funny. If they're bringing new comedic material, they know that
they can trust it.
They can trust it at that point.
Right, but UCB doesn't even fucking pay their performers. These are people who dedicate hours and hours of time. No, UCB don't...
That's because UCB is getting paid.
The school is getting paid. The performers are not getting paid.
Yeah, I know. That's what I was...
Yeah, exactly.
Never mind.
Sorry.
That came off wrong.
But, like... Keep going. So, if I have a regular weekly show at a bar with my group, and we're doing this, like, we're doing quality improv, and we're pulling in people to that bar every week, you know, who wouldn't be coming in, but they're our friends, they're people who like our show, and they're buying drinks, and they're eating food, we're still not getting a cut. Like, that bar still is not paying the improvisers, which is a dick move. It's bullshit. And I think that you have stand-ups who aren't that good, who immediately get shows and get paid, and they're doing the same, like, generic comedy. And I don't know, like, I don't always like stand-up. Probably because I'm so salty toward it. And I know I have my own salt, and I know that these people work really hard too, and they're just working on the same goal, which is to make people laugh. But, I mean, I don't know, I get aggravated when I think of, like, the hours of time that, you know, an improviser will put into their set.
And they're getting treated worse as not that the stand-up comic doesn't put in the same amount of hours.
No, they're putting in work too, but it's easier for them to get paid out of the work.
Yeah, you're probably right
and
about that.
And for an improviser, like, you've got to turn your shit into, like, a book or a sketch or a successful Twitter account or something. Like, it's just... You know, it becomes really hard to see a positive outline from that world. Or you have to turn it into your own successful, IFC comedy, or you have to become Broad City and do like those girls did when UCB wasn't working out the way they wanted, and that's a lot of work.
Right.
When you just want like a regular performance space for your, you and your friends because you're all funny and you make people laugh on a regular basis, it gets shitty because there's so much red tape, and it becomes frustrating. It becomes like heartbreaking, and just it wears you down. So any like creative process that is not like instantly handed off to someone is going to become kind of character building, right? You have to work so fucking hard that you question, is this really what I want to be doing?
Yeah, no.
And you question that constantly.
I already hit that point in grad school.
Yeah,
so.
I hit that point.
You go to grad school, you're gonna hit that
every fucking day with most things. I'm like, is this really what I want to be doing right now? I have to get out of bed and I'm like, is this really what I want to be doing right now?
No, but Nikki,
right.
I had a question.
Sure.
Where do you see the future of improv and the future of stand-up comedy going?
Internet.
The internet? Do you think...
I don't think for stand-ups. Stand-ups don't work, but I think...
I watch all the stand-up on Netflix, right?
Yeah,
so
but, like, what I'm saying is I think that, like, as far as YouTube goes, I think improvisers and sketch writers are going to have the upper hand, right? Look at successful channels. Right. You have somebody who can write, right? I think, like, Tom Scott does a lot of really solid sketches.
I don't know who that is.
He's a British guy. I'm on a British rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
Go check him out on YouTube.
He does some funny stuff. And
Tom
I think,
Scott?
Yeah, Tom Ska. Like the music.
Like the ska.
Like the ska music.
Also, tell him that we sent you and that he should subscribe
to us.
Tom Scott.
I say us, but I mean, I don't.
Subscribe to us.
I'm here.
You're part of the channel too now.
I yell from the bed.
She's always in the background sometimes. But yeah, you'll
obviously... see me in a drunk play soon. I don't know when that's going up.
That should come up maybe soon. It'll be on the channel.
I somehow
we do
pull one out of
Let's
my ass
Plays
in
every
Mario
Friday.
Kart.
Yeah, we do Let's Plays every Friday. Nikki joined me for 2, and I will put them out as soon as I can.
Depending on how tonight goes, maybe that'll be a 3rd. You never know.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows? We've got a lot of drinks.
We got a lot. We have a very large bottle of vodka.
It's coming. Don't worry.
It's over there?
I
was gonna say if it was over there, I would get it, but it's over there. It's too far away.
But yeah, and so you think?
I don't think it's all moving to the internet. I just think that there's going to be
it's slowly
a push
moving there, at
for
least.
Creators to be able to get themselves out there. Like there is now, right? People can put themselves on the internet without going through all of the red fucking tape.
Yeah, you already have a phone, so you can film yourself right now, right?
I can literally just do a freaking live stream and, be like that asshole who killed her sister because I was fucking
my
live streaming
God,
while driving.
That's getting too much.
Like that,
going too much. Okay.
But like that's what you can do now. So we've reached a point where like comedy, you don't need a club, you don't need a theater to get your material out there. You can just put it online for yourself, and hopefully someone comes by and says, "Hey, this is funny," and
no, absolutely,
and that can turn into a lot more opportunity in the real world than you realize.
I guess that's probably the best advice I think you should give to an aspiring improv artist.
Yeah.
Would be to definitely start a YouTube channel with your friends, because you're an improv artist. You probably already have a team.
Yeah, you could definitely.
Yeah, you should start writing sketches. Start writing.
Writing is where it's at. Look at Mamrie Hart and Grace Helbig. They started doing improv together in New York. That's where they met. They met doing improv here, and now they are like really successful internet personalities who've written and starred in movies. So it's an opportunity for yourself. Like maybe you won't have, millions of subscribers, but like that's the path, right?
Maybe the best option for an aspiring comic would be to go to school for something writing related.
Writing or
Perhaps,
even editing, cinematography, something that like gives you an
Get
edge.
that secondary skill, because you
edge.
need that edge. You can be funny, but if you have no outlet, if you have no outlet to put yourself into, then you're not going to go anywhere.
You could have like funny build up like I do, where I just go onto Twitter and I tell a joke and I think it's going to be hilarious, but I've got like 100 followers,
I like and
he likes it, but then he's got like 75 followers. So
30. I have 30.
I was trying.
Follow us on Twitter at Gaming Hungover, where we have 7 followers.
Hey, I'm one of them, so you can find me on Twitter.
And I'm one of them too. You can follow me also. But so Nikki, where do you think? I mean, you're not a stand-up comedian.
I think stand-ups have no
problem. So maybe you don't have that much of a say in it. But
there's no shortage of open mics. Like every shitty town has a bar where the bartender.
Hey, not every town is shitty though. All right.
But you know what I'm talking about, where the owner of the bar is like, we should have an open mic, and then
and then they have it.
They
hook it up to the karaoke machine, and I'm kidding.
And then everyone karaoke's to the person. No, but like every town's gonna have a bar that does an open mic. Not every town's gonna have
necessarily like once a year, maybe
space for you to do improv. So carving out that space for yourself and reading a lot of the materials that are out there, reading those books, I think Improvise is a solid. Truth in Comedy is like the Bible for improvisers. UCB put out a book that's essentially their Improv 101 class. There's a lot of material out there to teach yourself the basics of improv. Get some friends together, take turns like watching each other perform, seeing what's working, what's not working if you can't find a coach. But after that, like just start writing and produce as much as you can, and don't be like me. Don't give up, because hard work sucks. Like just keep trying and going out there, and when you do get to college or while you're in college, pick a minor that's gonna be like a skill, so like maybe do creative writing classes, or even if it's not a minor, just take those classes, build that skill, become comfortable doing those things, like learn how to use a camera, learn how to edit. Photoshop. I don't know how to use Photoshop. I have no marketable skills in the world of comedy, unless you want someone who understands psychology and can tell you features of the human skeleton. That's not helpful in comedy. I can be specific, which is usually a good joke, but it's not going to get me anywhere in like the YouTube world or even marketing. Shit, take a PR class and learn how to market yourself on the internet.
They can't do everything.
Right? I'm just saying, if you're really committed to putting yourself out there, you're going to put in the work. And PR is a huge part of self-promotion. So if you learn how to self-promote, which neither of us can do.
Oh, yeah.
You can see from our Twitter followers, we're not self-promoters.
It is definitely a thing that you have to put a lot of effort into. You have to do a lot of shameless shoving down people's throat all your content until it sticks, right?
And comedy is like that too. Getting people to come to your shows is just like
it's a mess,
yelling
right?
at a brick wall. Like, you're just screaming into the void, like, I'm doing this thing, I'm doing this thing.
It's
on Tuesday.
Wednesday or Tuesday at 10 p.m.
In a basement
like, get
with
the fuck
no
out of here.
AC.
I'm not going to that. That's so late.
With no AC, no heat.
I have to go to work tomorrow. Are you crazy?
And the number of times Julian's come to my shows and the only people in the audience are the other teams.
Yeah. Oh,
and
yeah.
then Julian,
and just me.
Julian's the only person not performing that night.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
that was true. But at least you had the other teams.
Yeah, and I've done a lot of those basement shows, and you know they're fun. Like, honestly,
they're still fun
so
because you're
fun.
around people that love what you're doing.
Exactly.
And
so
at
that's
least no
part of
one's-
it is finding that community of people who also love comedy and want to be active in the comedy world is going to be the best step in getting yourself involved. Now, I'm not saying you're all going to be, you know, Tina Fey and Will Ferrell. I'm sorry, you're not going to.
You're all gonna be. You are.
But you could get
Trust
somewhere.
me, not her.
You can get somewhere where you're doing this and producing material and feeling good about yourself in the world of comedy and feel like you've like carved out a spot for yourself. And that's the best thing to be. Like, finding a spot in the world where people pay attention to what you're doing and you have an audience. That's going to be the best thing I could recommend, is just finding a space where people want to see what you're doing.
Cool. Well, I feel like we've exhausted the topic. Maybe in the future podcast, if you guys would like, we will revisit the topic. Maybe Yvonne will be on that one as well, and I'll obviously bring you back for that.
Okay.
That would be if you're not already a staple in the Hungover Gaming channel by then, because you'll have done more videos by the time Yvonne gets back than Yvonne has ever done.
That's
So,
not true. You guys have
fucking guy.
produced an insane number
I
of
know,
videos.
yeah. Go check us out on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, it's all in the description. Whatever. But you do have to do the shameless promotion. So go check us out on youtube.com/hungovergaming. We have a whole lot of content for you.
We do, and in the down bar will be
The
links to
down
all
bar
of our socials.
is that what you call it?
Yeah, the
it's
down bar.
It's the
so
description
if you're
below.
watching on YouTube,
No matter,
go
yeah.
downstairs.
Smash that like button.
Smash that like button. Fucking
Don't
just
forget to
pulverize
smash the
that bell button.
Can we get 1,000 likes for this video? And also, don't forget to hit the bell button when you subscribe. Because then you'll get notifications when we upload.
And then go follow us on Twitter and Instagram.
Actually,
and
yeah,
all of those
all that
other
stuff
things.
will actually be in the
because you'll
comment
see
section
pictures
below,
of my
but-
cat and the
Comment
various
section,
shades of
description.
purple my
There
hair ends
is
up
a
being.
cat behind us somewhere. But, well, if you want to go get her,
I'll
I'll
go
do
get
the
the cat.
outro.
I'll go get the cat. Just don't.
Yeah, just for you
zoom
guys
in
on the
my
video. I'm
very
not
short
gonna
shorts.
zoom in on that. And I can't. The camera's over there. Anyways, guys, we end our podcast every week with in a segment called Hungover Radio. This is a segment where you, the viewer or listener, can send in your music or your friend's music, whether you wrote, produced, played an instrument on, or just really like a song pretty much at this point. Go ahead and send it in to gaminghungover@gmail.com. We will hopefully get that in the audio portion of the podcast because we don't like copyright strikes. So we obviously only put this in the audio portion of the podcast. What do you... Oh, you gotta persuade her or something? She's getting food. It's a mess. Sorry for all the nonsense where we slam the table and that sort of crap. I hope you guys still enjoyed the podcast. But today's music and song comes from a video game known as Super Mario Land 2 and the 6 Golden Coins, Nikki's favorite video game. That is a cat. That cat is so effing fat. Can you jiggle that? Oh, yeah. If you're missing out. So if you just listen to this podcast, at least skip to the end of the video so you can see this cat. Because, good God, that is... nasty.
She's about 17 pounds of pure beauty.
Pure fat
She's
and trash,
sitting here now.
more likely. Anyways, this song was suggested by Nikki because she is on this podcast now. It's called Star Maze from Super Mario Land 2 and the 6 Golden Coins. I'm very nostalgic for this game, as you are. Obviously, you played it when you were a kid.
The
original
Still
Game
have
Boy.
It. Still play it.
Of course, still have it. It is probably the best Super Mario Land game because the first one was really, really weird. Had an airplane level. Mario doesn't go in airplanes.
Airplanes don't
And
exist
at
in
the
his
end,
universe.
well, I won't spoil the end of this game, but I mean, but the third one, Super Mario Land 2, is actually Super Wario Land 1. Do you know that?
You've told me that, and I couldn't...
It's called Super Mario Land 3.
I couldn't emotionally
Super
handle
Wario
it.
Land 1. I think that's the actual subtitle. I could be wrong. Maybe it's just called Super Wario Land 1.
I only ever had this one.
Which
have
I
no
did
idea.
like. I love that game.
It was just part of an eclectic mix of Game Boy games that I have and still have. All of them like sequels. I don't have any original. I think I have the original Donkey Kong. But then from there, I've got like Donkey Kong Land 3.
Okay.
Don't have number 2. Have this second game. Don't have the first or the third.
Well,
Powerpuff Girls 2, I think, if there was 2 to that.
Wow. They made a Powerpuff Girls game
I have a
for
Bugs
GBA?
Bunny game.
GB?
I've got a bunch of just weird...
GBC?
I have a Tamagotchi game, and I think it's a sequel. I don't know why there's a sequel, but...
Well, we can't capture any of that, so we're not going to play
Sorry.
it. Anyways, so yeah, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to us all over the place. It's all there. And I hope you guys enjoy this song, Super Mario Land 2 and 6 Golden Coins. A great game. Go check it out if you can. It's on the Wii U Virtual Console, I believe. Or maybe the 3DS Virtual Console.
I'm sure someone's made it into something somewhere where you can play it.
Or an emulator. You could be a pirate and do that. I don't condone it. Anyways,
No piracy.
Nikki, where can everyone follow you, or if you want them to?
Sure.
On Tumblr at least.
No.
Oh wait, sorry.
No, you
what
can
is
follow
the Street Life Manifesto one.
Yeah, you can follow my Streetlight Manifesto Tumblr. It's called A Manifesto of Streetlights, and
She really likes that band.
Streetlight Manifesto.
If you like them, you'll like this Tumblr.
I post pictures of streetlights, and it's my favorite thing to do.
Wait, oh no, it was over there. I thought it was blocked by the mic.
No.
Sorry.
And then other than that, it's Nikki TV on Twitter and Instagram, and I'm sure everyone
I'll
else.
put it in the description below. And
2 Ks, 3 As, 3 Ys TV.
It's why? Why? That is not a
Why?
marketable. This is why.
Just to make sure it's difficult.
Anyways. Yeah, just so you actually can't find her, you're gonna have trouble. But thanks so much for coming out, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the podcast. Tell us in the comment section below if you want to see more Nikki on the podcast. I'll try to rope her into this, maybe more often than not. Who knows? She'll definitely be in a couple videos anyways, upcoming soon. So, we'll catch you guys next time. Enjoy Super Mario Land 2 and the 6 Golden Coins Star Maze. Catch you guys next week. Peace out.